being here. Mr. Amadei, I think you got a little aggravated trying to answer Senator Hawley's question about something you may create that you think of as an ethical use. But let me tell you why this bothers us, the unethical use. Senator Blumenthal and I have worked together for nearly 4 years on looking at social media and the harms that have happened to our nation's youth. And hopefully this week, our Kids Online Safety Act comes out of committee. It wasn't intended. Social media wasn't intended. The intent was not to harm children, cause mental health crisis, put children in touch with drug dealers and pedophiles. But we have heard story after story and have uncovered instance after instance where the technology was used in a way that nobody ever thought it was. And now we're trying to clean it up because we've not put the right guardrails in place. So as we look at AI, the guardrails are very important. And Professor Russell, I want to come to you because the U.S. is behind we're really behind our colleagues in the EU, the UK, New Zealand, Australia, Canada, when it comes to online consumer privacy and having a way for consumers to protect that name, image, voice, having a way for them to protect their data, their writings, so that AI is not trained on their data. So talk for just a minute about how we keep our position as a global leader in generative AI and at the same time protect consumer privacy. Would a federal privacy standard help? What are your recommendations there?
I think there needs to be absolutely a requirement to disclose if the system is harvesting the data from individual conversations. And my guess is that immediately people would stop using a system that says, I am taking your conversation, I am folding it into the next version of the model, and anyone in the country can basically listen in on this conversation because they're going to be asking questions about what I did.
Let me ask you this. Do you think the industry is mature enough to self-regulate?
No.
Not. So therefore, it is going to be necessary for us to mandate a structure?
Yes. I think there is certainly a change of heart at OpenAI. Initially, they were harvesting the data produced by individual conversations. And then more recently, they said, we're going to stop doing that. And clearly, if you're in a company, and even not considering personal conversation, but just in a company and you want the system to help you with some internal operation, you're going to be divulging company proprietary information to the chatbot to get it to give you the answers you want. And if that information is then available to your competitors by simply asking ChatGPT what's going on over in that company, this would be terrible. So having a clear definition of what it is, there's a technical term, oblivious, right, which basically says whatever we talk about, I am going to forget completely, right? That's a guarantee that systems should offer. I actually believe that browsers and any other device that interacts with individuals should offer that as a formal guarantee. Let me also make the point about enforcement, which I think Senator Hawley mentioned at the beginning, a right of action. But, for example, we have a federal do not call list. So as I understand it, it's a federal crime for a company to do robocalls to people who are on the federal do not call list. My estimate is that there are hundreds of billions or possibly 1 trillion federal crimes happening every year.
Every day. Yes. So
and we're not really enforcing anything.
Right.
There,
so you would say existing law is not sufficient for AI.
Correct. And,
okay.
And existing
all right.
enforcement patterns
yes,
as well.
Let me move on. In Tennessee, AI is important. Our auto industry uses so many AI applications, and we followed this issue for quite a period of time. because of the auto industry, because of the healthcare industry and the healthcare technology industry that is headquartered in Nashville. And of course, predictive diagnosis, disease analysis, research, pharmaceutical research benefits tremendously from AI. And then you look at the entertainment industry and the voice cloning, and you look at what our entertainers, our songwriters, our artists, our authors, our publishers, our TV actors, our TV producers are facing with AI, and to them, it is an absolute way that they're robbing them of their ability to make a living off of their creative work. So our creative community has a different set of issues. Martina McBride, who is no stranger to country music, went into Spotify, and the playlists are a big thing, building your own playlist. So she was going to build a country music playlist out of Spotify. She had to refresh that 13 times before a song by a female artist came up. 13 times. So you look at the power of AI to shape what people are hearing. And in Nashville, we like to say you can go on Lower Broad, you can go to one of the honky-tonks, your band can have a great night, you can be discovered, and you too could end up with a record deal. But if you've got these algorithmically AI-generated playlists that cut out new artists or females or certain sounds, then you are limiting someone's potential. Just as if you allow AI-generated content like on Jukebox, which OpenAI is experimenting with, then you train it on that artist's sound and their songs to imitate them, then you are robbing them of the ability to be compensated. So how do we ensure that that creative community is still going to have a way to make a living without having AI become a way to steal their creative talents and works?
I think this is a very important issue. I think it also applies to book authors, some of whom are suing OpenAI. And I believe, I'm not really an expert on copyright at all, but some of my colleagues are, like Pam Samuelson, for example, and I think she would be a great witness for a future hearing. And I think the view is that the law, as it's written, simply wasn't ready for this kind of thing to be possible. So if by accident the system produces a song that has the same melody, then it's going to fall under existing law that you're basically plagiarizing, and there have been cases of human plagiarism that have succeeded.
We've explored the fair use issue
Yep.
in this committee, and we'll continue to do so. And my time has expired. Thank you,
Okay.
Mr. Chairman.
Thanks, Senator Blackburn. We'll begin a second round of questions, and I want to begin with one of the points